As the new NFL season officially begins with the start of free agency, there are unfortunately some things we must go over. New rules. As with most things the league has done, it's allegedly meant to improve the game, but some of them have led to more controversy than not. One of these changes that totally won't cause this is the banning of the hip drop tackle. Any infraction called by officials will now be 15 yards and an automatic first down. Another judgment call penalty and a league plagued by them. Oh, wonderful. The replay booth can now review instances of roughing the passer and intentional grounding. But knowing how well the pass interference reviews went, my hopes aren't high. What could be ironically useful are the new kickoff rules. They had to do something about them. The kickoff had been relegated to nothing but touchbacks for the most part. If you watch the XFL this past year, there'll be a slightly modified version of them. The kicker kicks off at his 35-yard line, and the kickoff special teams line up at the opposing 40. All but two players on the return team line up at the 35-yard line, not to move until the ball is received by a returner. The goal for the kicking team is to hit it in the landing zone, between the 20 and the goal line. If a ball lands or goes out of the end zone for a touchback, the ball is spotted at the 30-yard line. If it goes out of bounds, it's spotted at the 40 like it was before. Onside kicks also must be declared, thus eliminating surprise onside kicks. We'll definitely be complaining about these things in the future, but their newest gift to us comes with 2 games on Christmas. Wednesday football is back after a 4-year hiatus. The NBA is seething in the corner. All in. The legend of Cowboys football will reemerge after becoming a meme and a half in January. There will be shaking. There will be quaking. There will be next to nothing done to replace the departing Souls Cutter release from the team. And by God, there were a lot of them. Former franchise faces, injury-prone pieces, and a somber career ender for Leighton Vander Esch. What will Dallas do to overcome such hilarious adversity? Behold their greatest achievements. Signing Eric Kendricks. And the long snapper. Truly one of the off-seasons we have witnessed. Brought to you by the hardest working comma in the English language. Remember, all in doesn't mean what everyone thinks it means. It's whatever the Jones family feels like at a given moment. If that means letting Dak walk away because he wants a shitload of money, so be it. Mike Zimmer must have been their all-in move. Mike Zimmer. Hilarious. So the New York Giants got punched right in the gut after a disastrous season where everything that could go wrong did. And as a horrible consolation prize, they're losing 2 of their best and most beloved players. Xavier McKinney and Saquon are gone. It was inevitable since they weren't going to move the needle for them and they needed to rip off the Saquon Band-Aid, but did he really have to go to a hated rival? The G-Men need a jolt. They need one badly. The likes of John Runyon Jr. and Devin Singletary are notable, but not enough to move the needle. You know who does? Brian Burns. Carolina fucked up royally with him. And their fumble is recovered by the Giants at the cost of a couple draft picks and a hefty extension. Is it enough to ease the sting of this past year? I don't know, but it couldn't hurt. Too many other situations to solve, however. There's the Daniel Jones question. Gettleman's folly leaves more than a bit to be desired by the fanbase. And rumors of his ouster for a journeyman career are frequent. At 6, the best quarterbacks might be gone, but rumors of J.J. McCarthy's Trubisky-esque rise flood the landscape. Do it. Please, do it, Giants. The salt will flow like Danny Derps got drafted again. Make or break. This offseason is a surprisingly critical one for the Eagles. It's the forced introspection of a collapse that shattered their dreams of revenge. It's the somber farewell to legends of the Team Eternal. Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox have ascended to a higher plane of existence. Probably literally, as they'll soon be in the team's Hall of Fame. And perhaps Canton, too. Landon Dickerson might someday rise to Eagles Hall of Fame status. With a huge extension incoming, it proves that interior alignment can also be paid. They'll need him to block for their newest running prize. His name is Saquon. You may have heard of him when he was running all over them with the Giants. And now he's theirs. If he can stay healthy, it'll be a great addition. But there's a reason why New York was okay with letting him go. There is a player a New York team didn't want to leave, though. That's Bryce Huff, a pass-rushing specialist who emerged in a big way. Devin White's also here to hopefully revive himself in the linebacking position after last season. Good God. Brendan Graham's back for his 15th season here in the meantime. Hassan Reddick will not, as he's a Jet. There's also Chauncey Gardner-Johnson returning to the fan base he once called cancer. And money talks, baby. The commies were building a team for 2019 or 2020, this team would be such a dominating force I'd be dubbing them Super Bowl contenders. Throwback coach Dan Quinn is bringing a lot of faces from Dallas over to bring his brand of football to Washington. And I mean more than a few, including Tyler Biadasz for the O-line. Look at these blasts from the past. Zach Ertz to play tight end. Austin Eckler as a platoon running back. Bobby Wagner, he's still able to move out there. Nick Allegretti, master of fat guy touchdown. Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, and Frankie Louvu for the defense. And Marcus Mariota is the new backup to go with their quarterback of the future. It's not Sam Howell. He fell to shit in the second half, he's out of their plans. I got a decent return on a trade for him though. It's not much, but Washington pretty much needed anything and everything to reforge themselves. You take some flesh from Dallas, they'll accept it. Remember when I said it was too early for Bears fans to talk endless shit about the team last year? Okay, this may be the moment where it's justified. Caleb Williams is going to be getting some nice weapons to add to his hopeful ascension to Chicago's savior. The main prize, besides whomever's picked at number 9, is Keenan Allen. He won't be expected to be the headliner here, but as a foil to DJ Moore, he should be excellent. Gerald Everett for the receiving game should be good depth as well. Not to mention DeAndre Swift for the running game. Even though Rashawn Johnson and Khalil Herbert were pretty good for them last year, still an upgrade, I guess. Same as Kevin Byard for the secondary, but we all know the real salvation. Paying Jalen Johnson. One of the best corners in football will be compensated like it. And things are starting to look up in Bears land, which is a surprising thing to say. To properly succeed, you must offer a sacrifice to the gods. A potential dome in Chicago proper isn't enough. You must give up what you love. Justin Fields. He was gone the moment the Panthers pick was number 1. And he didn't fetch much in return, but he'll get a real chance to thrive in Pittsburgh. Be proud, Chicago. Your moment might be coming very soon. Welcome back to Relevance, Detroit. It's been a while. Never thought they'd get here, but when you undertake a deep overhaul like they did, sometimes this result happens. The fixes are needed on defense. Aaron Glenn's unit was pretty porous if we're being honest. It must be bolstered. Carlton Davis from Tampa Bay acquired to aid their secondary woes. Marcus Davenport brought in for a 1-year deal. The intriguing acquisition to me is DJ Reader. It's a damn good signing on the cheap, unfortunately due to a severe injury suffered last year. When he's at his peak, he's a shit wrecker. If he can get back there, this will be huge. Same as a Graham Glasgow extension for 3 years. I would say it's been an uneventful offseason of sorts, but Cameron Sutton decided to play GTA IRL and get his wanted level up to 3 stars. Oh, fuck. It's a weird thing when the Packers are active in free agency, but there's a young quarterback to support in his emergence. There's a defense that needs to replace a few parts in the secondary and linebacking core. They cannot be vanilla like Joe Barry. You fix that by signing Xavier McKinney as a defensive leader and strong presence at safety. Keyshawn Nixon brought back for the return game is huge as well. But the real prize? Josh Jacobs. A man who's been a bell cow for the Raiders, elusiveness and power all in one. He's getting the big bucks, and it means the end of some fan favorites in Green Bay. I'm gonna tell my grandchildren about the greatest running back tandem in football for 40 minutes. It was never meant to be since Aaron Jones wasn't going to take another drastic pay cut, but it was a force you could dream of. David Bakhtiari is the modern Tony Baselli. A great tackle that just can't stay healthy. And his lingering issues have forced Green Bay's hand. A damn shame. You will take the next best thing. The return of A.J. Dillon. Errors can be a disappointing thing. The Vikings have been the epitome of frustrations in the age of Kirk Cousins. Unable to elevate them to the heights that they desire with a litany of issues and snake bites aplenty. He had a damn good season this past year. Until the Minnesota sports curse struck yet again, and it would be the last time he'd dress in a Vikings uniform. He's departed. With what Atlanta paid him, I don't blame them for balking. The same goes for Danielle Hunter. Rumors of him leaving for years have finally been confirmed. Although signing Jonathan Grenard for the same role but signaled the end of his time here. They made some interesting signings in addition, mainly Andrew Van Ginkel and Blake Cashman, but the real tradition is former Packers seeking revenge against their old team. Aaron Jones, you are that new man with a chip on the shoulder. Think of the magic he can make with Sam Darnold. Oh, God. In all seriousness, they're going quarterback in this draft, but what's going to be there at 11? Bo Nix? An extreme premium will have to be paid to move up into the top 5. And that doesn't mention the fate of Justin Jefferson. Is he gone or can he be extended? The end may be near. with that, another chapter ends in the legacy of failure.
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
We all know Atlanta's main issues last season. Shitty coaching and shitty quarterback play. They've hopefully solved the first thing by telling Arthur Smith to fuck off, but under center, the time has come to go big. Desmond Ridder is fucking ass. And he can go be ass in Arizona for all I care. For the Falcons to take the next step, they need the best on the market. That they got in Kirk Cousins. They won the sweepstakes for him, but it came at an unbelievable price. 4 years and $100 million guaranteed for a 36-year-old coming off a torn Achilles? The only thing not at risk is Kirk's bank account. Some may be generational throwers or runners or field generals, but Cousins is a generational bag securer. Incredible wealth for an age and a half. Darnell Mooney didn't get a generational bag, but a solid one, especially for how inconsistent he was in Chicago. May he hopefully regain his rookie form here, and may Cousins continue to count the money. What happens when one of the worst teams in football, featuring an increasingly toxic owner, decides to spend in free agency? You have to pay an exorbitant tax just to get players to come to you. We can't say that the Panthers weren't busy on the open market. Look at how much they paid Robert Hunt to solidify their offensive line. 5 years, $100 million with $63 million guaranteed. For Robert Hunt, you'd be a fool to decline that. Damian Lewis would have also been a fool to decline the contract Carolina offered him. Yosh Nijman, too. Same as their defensive ads in Josie Jewell, Ashawn Robinson, DJ Wanham, and Dane Jackson. Hell, even Jadeveon Clowney's coming home. Deontay Johnson is their new wideout 1. Even if he's more of a 2 in this system, he's their headliner. Besides a lot of last year's failure being buried in the back, another headliner is headed out. Brian Burns in Carolina reached an impasse and it could not be mended by means of proper compensation. He's been traded for a meager return of a 2nd and 5th round pick. This is a friendly reminder that the Rams were offering 2 firsts and a 2nd for Burns 18 months ago. Scott Fitterer did generational damage to this franchise. The New Orleans Saints are on the carousel from hell. They keep trying to do the same things over and over, yet expect different results to occur. The last few years were any indication, they won't. There will be more restructuring, more kicking the can down the road, more aging parts that have to be kept up for appearances. Except Michael Thomas and Andrew Speed, they're just gone. New Orleans does get some new toys to play with at the minimum. Super Bowl champion Willie Gay and Cedric Wilson as a depth wideout. And don't forget about Chase Young. He may not be the same after a torn ACL, but getting a name brand like him is always a good thing. Chase is even talking about the proud culture of the Saints as to why he came here. That's football speak for they paid him the most money. I know that language from anywhere. The Buccaneers are still at the top of a mountain of shit. As reigning lords of the NFC South, they had a few questions to answer. What happens with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans? They were both key pieces to their playoff push last season. Baker's revival was worthy of reward. Despite countless suitors, the answer to those questions, they're both back. Mike Evans has been re-inked to keep him in the red and black, and Baker's recouped some of the money that was lost to him after playing with injury in Cleveland. It's an inspiring feel-good story, kind of like the Bucs. Levante David's back in the fold as well, same as Antoine Winfield. And there's Jordan Whitehead coming home to the secondary that made him a champion as well. Despite losing some old stalwarts, their mission is complete. Now to simply prepare for the draft and season ahead. It's obvious the Cardinals are still rebuilding, and someone taking a passing glance at this organization can tell you that. As Kyler continues to revive his quarterback stock, there will be some additions to this foundation. For the defense, there's Mac Wilson, Justin Jones, and Sean Murphy-Bunting. On the O-line, Jonah Williams is here from Cincy. And as a backup quarterback, here's Desmond Ridder. I pray that he won't see the field for long stretches during his time in Arizona. The real question is what they do at number 4. Marvin Harrison Jr. should be there if they want a Maserati at wideout. Or do they trade down and get a potential haul depending on which quarterback is there? There's a lot of hype around J.J. McCarthy these days. There are more than a few quarterback-hungry teams that might make the jump. The Rams are in decent shape, especially with the revival of Stafford. To ensure his form, they need to protect their prize behind center. There are solid pieces, but it needs fortification. Kevin Dotson has done well here, and has been rewarded with a handsome extension to stay put. Jonah Jackson, speaking of Detroit, is poached from there to join the Rams like a certain player. The secondary could also use reinforcements. And with Darius Williams, Cameron Curl, and the redemption arc of Tre'Davious White in tow, it should help out a bunch. Same as Colby Parkinson for the passing game. But this day is a somber one. Aaron Donald will no longer feast on quarterbacks. He will now be enjoying life in retirement. One word: legend. He didn't even suffer decline and regression. Just accomplished everything he wanted to and moved on. Don't even make him wait 5 years, put him in Canton right now. Jimmy Garoppolo won't be going with him, but if there were a Hall of Fame for looks, he'd be first ballot. San Francisco. Continually close to the goal, but can never reach the apex they so desire. Making the final dance has to be capitalized. And the Niners know this, especially considering the struggles they suffered in between appearances. The cost of a loss hurts. And with the release of Eric Armstead due to cap issues, it hurts significantly more. He's just one of many that had to go due to this revelation. Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross-Matos are here to replace him, but Armstead was a cornerstone of that line, albeit aging. Losing Drake Greenlaw for the year hurts as well, but a one-year stopgap in Devondre Campbell helps on this front. I have one major concern that needs to be addressed, and that's Brendan Ayuk. Their emerging wideout is going to be due a massive payday that they possibly can't afford, especially with the bill for Brock Purdy coming due soon. What happens there? Is he traded for a solid return? Do they keep him for another push? Or something else? I honestly never know with the Niners. Seattle, did you remember to set your alarm clocks on time? To be fair, they didn't have unbelievable priorities in free agency this offseason, but considering how much the Seahawks lost to other teams, not to mention cutting the likes of Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, was I wrong for thinking there'd be some urgency? They were able to re-up Noah Fant and Leonard Williams at the very least. Plus, I like Sam Howell as a backup option / project QB. He didn't cost a ton either. I'm more or less surprised they've been relatively quiet in the offseason. It's mostly bargain bin moves like Jerome Baker, Tyrell Dodson, and Rayshawn Jenkins. But despite Seattle's offseason so far, time is on their side. There's been a lot of moving and shaking so far, and there will be plenty more to come. The draft's coming up, you know, and that's instant drama. I'm gonna ready up some popcorn.
With the 20th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida.
So they do go offense. They do go offense to fortify